anybody want to work in HR? There are many HR professionals out there who love being in the role, but are really struggling. They don't know whether they're in the role to support the business and protect the company and deliver KPIs, or is their role about offering support and listening to the employees? Is it about offering tea and sympathy? So they almost feel like the proverbial pig in the middle. There are some HR professionals who are out to just please everybody and end up pleasing nobody, least of all themselves. And then there are a few HR professionals out there who have really got this completely covered. So then why is it that no matter what we do in HR, it feels like it's never enough? Look at this. This was a survey carried out of 1,000 employees and 90 HR professionals. And apart from unfair pay, which, let me just say, isn't always to do with HR, the two most biggest things that people had a complaint about HR was not offering enough training and growth within the organisation, and also not having enough sympathy or empathy for people. And then have you heard this? HR equals human remains. I've heard many HR directors, or many business owners, rather, saying we used to call HR human remains because they're dead. And then have you read the best ever joke on LinkedIn? So there's a link there. Take a look at this joke on LinkedIn if you use social media. But basically the joke states that a HR professional died, and off she went towards the pearly gates of obviously heaven. And St. Peter said, actually, do you want to check out what hell's like before you go to heaven? She's like, all right, cool, let's go. So she goes down to hell, and it's beautiful, right? You know, there's golden harps, and it's just stunning. Like, she's thinking, this is an amazing place to be. So then she said, but let me just take a look at heaven, just in case it's better up there, right? So she goes up to heaven and takes a look. It wasn't as good as what it was in hell. So she's like, I'm gonna go to hell, actually. I love it there. It was amazing. I felt really comfortable, and I love the people there. So St. Peter said, are you sure that's what you want to do? She's like, yep. So she decides to go to hell, and that's where she goes. And as she's going down the elevator, the door opens to hell, and it's just dead, dry ground. She said, what happened? Like, you know, when I came the other day, it was just beautiful. And St. Peter said, yesterday we were recruiting you, today you're staff. So, but the interesting thing is this joke on LinkedIn, when I checked it about 2 weeks ago, had over 99,000 likes and about 5,000 comments. So comments like, very funny. However, based on personal experience, it is also quite accurate. Excellent, often not so far from reality, unfortunately. And great fun story, but the truth of the matter is, it's true. So I just want to ask you, how does it feel to read comments like that? It's quite hurtful, isn't it? Because we really try, right, in HR. We try hard. But in my experience of over 25 years being in HR, I've worked with many HR professionals. And I've got to say, I'm not going to lie, there are some who ain't that great. There are some who haven't really quite mastered what making a difference to people is about. There are some actually who don't even like people. There are some who feel like they don't get the respect for the job they do. They really try hard, they feel undervalued, and nobody listens to their ideas. I'm sure some of you can resonate with some of that. There are also HR professionals who feel like, I know everything I need to know, and you need to do what I say. Right? They're not the proverbial pigs in the middle, they're actually the company dinosaur. So the struggle is real, right? Often in HR. So why would anyone want to work in HR? Because we like people. In fact, we love people, right? Raise your hand if you went into HR because you have a passion for working with people. Only a few? Great. So raise your hand again if you went into HR because you really wanted to make a difference to people. Great. We have committed ourselves in HR to be about making a difference to human beings, right? We've got a higher purpose. Because we've already seen, right? It's not always that great. But we've committed ourselves to being people who are about people. Yes or no? Yes. Yesterday, Mr. Atif said on the panel, the most important thing is to build human beings. Like, what an honor and a privilege that we have in HR to do that. I feel really humbled and so grateful that I'm on that path, that I can really make a difference to other human beings. But would you agree that there are some small improvements that we can make? Yes or no? Great, so we're going to accept the challenge, yeah? So, in my experience of HR and all the things that I have learned, these are some of the things that I feel that actually within HR I've really taken on. The first one is commitment. Now let me share with you about commitment. About 20 years ago, when I was a line manager for Tesco, I remember being walked around by my store manager. We were doing a morning inspection. And as we were doing our morning inspection, there was a missing shellfish label on the shop floor, on the shelf, right? And he said, "What's that? Why is there a missing shellfish label?" Now, bearing in mind, I got in very early that morning to beat the boss, to try and get things ready to look good and make sure the standards were right. The night manager had worked 14 hours that night to get the shop ready. And the boss says, "Are you effing stupid?" Now, have you ever felt that somebody is treating you in a way that is completely unacceptable, but you're so shocked that you can't even react? Well, I did. And that night, you'd find me with my Bible. Only this isn't the story of God. It's the Dale Carnegie Bible called How to Win Friends and Influence People. In this Bible, it said, next to food and shelter, the next most important thing, or the next most important thing for human beings is the feeling of being important. And I decided that day that nobody was going to feel how I felt that day. I decided that, and I committed that under my watch, as a HR professional, nobody was going to be treated like that. So I committed to that. I committed that all employees in every organization is going to be valued and not treated as a number, but as a human being, right? The next thing that I developed or what I've learned that I've really needed to develop, is integrity. And as Mr. Nasir said yesterday, you are your word. So when you've committed to something, you've given your word. So now you've got to honor your word. Because without your word, you're nothing. And then leadership. So really developing my leadership skills. Not just my leadership skills to, manage my team, but to manage myself, to manage my family, to manage my health, to manage my managers. And really developing that. So some of the things that we've really had to work on is developing things like self-expression, being someone who's a voice for others, right? Being someone who stands for what is right, not necessarily what is easy. Let me just tell you something a little bit about leadership. In 2016, in the February of 2016, I just separated from my husband. The following month, I got made redundant from my 27-year job. The month after that, I had to sell my house. So I went from having a secure family network, a secure job, and my own house, to being a single parent for the first time, with no job, and living in a rented property for the first time. If I didn't really develop my leadership skills to manage myself, then I wouldn't be here today talking to you lovely people on this beautiful island. And that's why I designed the HR brand blueprint. Where's Jerome? So Jerome shared yesterday in his presentation, what do you want to be known for? HR needs to be a brand in itself. So I want you to think about, in your role in HR, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for somebody who doesn't commit, who isn't their word, who doesn't listen, who doesn't think about the business and the results? You decide. So, in my experience, there are 5 areas that we've got to master in HR. Rather than being somebody who looks at just process and policies, or somebody who looks at just building relationships, because in the old days, the HR role was about staff welfare. And that neither helps a business grow or helps people understand the power of HR. I think it was Avi said yesterday, remember, relationships plus results creates engagement. So the 5 areas that we really need to master are partnership, process, productivity, performance, and progress. So let's just have a look at each one. Partnership has got to be at the core of everything that we do in HR. And that's not just partnership with the business owners, it's partnership with the employees, partnership with the managers, partnership with the directors, the customers. So you heard Frederick talking about, be partners with people who are not just your employees, be partners with everyone that impacts the organization. But also, be a partner to yourself. So underneath partnership, there's 4 areas that we need to think about. The first one, so the solution here is called the Dream Team Template. The T stands for tuning in. Tune in to the organization that you work with. Tune into what are the challenges, what are the areas that you can really support. Have really dynamic discussions, real powerful conversations with the people in your organization. The E stands for engagement. Now, I don't need to tell you about engagement because we have a chief delighting officer in the house. Associates. There are many HR professionals who are sitting in an office, in a building somewhere, waiting for bad news to come along to them. And actually, what we want to do is get every HR professional into the heart of the organization, where you're firing off with every department. So we're going to do a little exercise actually, and we're not going to reinvent the wheel. So I'd like some volunteers. Can I get maybe 7 volunteers, please? So raise your hand if you want to come and be in my team right now. Please. Come on, we need some HR professionals to be self-expressed. Wow. Thank you. Well done. So what we're going to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. Come on, you can come too. Come. No, you come as well. That's fine. So here's what we're going to do. So we're not going to be HR professionals sitting in an office anymore, right? You guys are out there on the shop floor. Got it? Yesterday's exercise, we've done some dancing. Okay? Yeah, so we're not going to do dancing out here. What I want you to do is I want you to go out there and I want you to find leaders on the tables and get everybody up. I want you to use your power. Okay? To make them stand up and dance. So we're gonna really generate. We're gonna generate some energy. We're gonna generate a team. We're gonna generate, oh my God, results. Got it? We can only do that with people, right? Okay. So can we have some? Oh, and I also realized, being here, one of the things within HR is really important to get to really understanding where people are and getting into the world of our employees and our teams. One thing I learned about people from Maldives is that they like a bit of Bollywood music. Yeah? Which is great, because me too. So, can we have some music, please? Right, ready? We're going to get going here, and then I want you to go in the group. Ready? Come on! Yeah! Great, so, and the final section to this part of the model is mindset, okay? How many of you, in HR, we're always looking at developing other people. We're always giving to others. How many of you have got a plan for yourself, for your development? How many of you, raise your hand if you've got a plan for yourself? Okay, great, a few of you. So on your tables, we're going to do a little exercise. You've got this wheel of life. And what I want you to really think about here is to look at all those areas of your life on the sheets. Has everybody got one? Great. So what we're going to do on each of those sections is I want you to ask yourself the question, how satisfied are you in these areas of your life? And if you're really satisfied, shade in the full segment, it's a 10. And if it's a 1, then you only slightly shade it in up to the number 1. So I want you to take a bit of time and just do that. I think this is falling off. So I want you to just take a few minutes just doing that little exercise. Okay, are we done? So what do you notice about your wheel? Sorry? A bit imbalanced. Yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with it being imbalanced, but it just means that there are some areas that we could really work on, right? Now, the reason for doing this is how many employees within our organizations are also dealing with things that we don't know about. So as a HR, I suppose as HR leaders, you know, how can we really get into the world of what really matters to our employees, what they're really dealing with? And these are the kind of things that we really need to be having conversations about with our people, right? So I just wanted you to kind of reflect on that and actually look at, if we're dealing with these kind of things, what are they dealing with? And how many conversations are we having with our teams, with our managers, with our employees around what's really going on in your world? You know, I went into an organization last month, and managers were talking about, you know, doing appraisals, right? And I said, what do you actually know about the people in your team? And they said, oh, we don't really have those conversations here. How can you really serve people without really knowing what's going on for them? Right? So let's really not be afraid to ask questions and inquire and be curious so that we can serve them better. Okay. So the next area around the HR brand blueprint is process. Now, Frederick talked about earlier is actually, you know, we can get so caught up in red tape and rules. You know, we make processes for processes and policies for policies. You know, policies are like, no, it's not, the policy says you got to do this, so we can't go away from what the policy says. But policies are not the be-all and end-all, and one size does not fit all, right? And actually, what I really ask of you is to really look at how can you simplify the policies and the processes. So here's something that I've really simplified. There's only 3 stages of an employee cycle: starting, staying, and saying goodbye. It's as simple as that. So this is what happens. When we're recruiting somebody, we get so excited, don't we? We're going to recruit this new member of the team. They're going to take some work from us. We invest money. We, do whatever we've got to do, right? We spend time and energy in recruiting this correct, this really right person for the team. And then before you know it, they're saying goodbye. They're saying goodbye because we haven't invested in the bit in the middle to make sure they stay. Right? We haven't listened to them. We haven't talked to them. We haven't trained them. We haven't supported them. We haven't recognized them. We haven't valued them. So they found somewhere else to go. So really, this is how simple it is. It's 3 stages. And then we get to productivity. Now yesterday, Mr. Ahmed said there are some concerns for HR. The concerns for HR is connecting HR and talent to business priorities. In this section, productivity is where HR really steps up and gets connected with the people and the organization. It's about what can we do to make sure that we have the right people in the right place at the right time doing the right things. And within HR is actually what can we do to deliver the results and what is our contribution to the organization's vision. In fact, we need to take that to another level and be the visionaries in the organization. How are we going to help the organization deliver their vision? And then, look at performance. Imagine being in an organization where every employee is self-led. That would be the ideal, right? Because at the moment, whose accountability is performance? We make it about the organization's accountability because we manage performance. Imagine if accountability was performance was the accountability of every individual in the organization. And we encourage them to take accountability for their own performance. How many of your managers actually hate doing appraisals? Probably quite a few. So let's simplify it. Let's not have to do appraisals with people. Let's get every employee coming to us saying, do you know what, boss? These are the company's objectives. This is what I'm going to contribute. And these are the skills and these are the support that I need from you. Right? So it's getting them to have accountability and understanding the contribution that they're going to make to the business. And then, to take it to another level, is how about asking them, what are your hopes and your aspirations? What do you want for your life? Because imagine being the type of leader who's made a difference, or because of your leadership, another human being in your team, in your organization is going to have a better future for themselves and their family. Now, how would that feel? Right? Really making a difference to people's lives. And then, Mr. Najib Khan said yesterday, an appraisal is not a one-time conversation. Having these regular conversations throughout the year, how are you getting on? Really helping people implement their plans, educating them. We've had many talks over the last 2 days around education and how companies are really sponsoring employees to take on degrees. Like, what a great company to work for, to be able to give those skills, to give that opportunity to an individual who wouldn't be able to afford that on their own. And then making sure that we validate, this is where we have those regular conversations, and then elevating people, recognition, whether it's promotion, whether it's more pay, whether it's more skills, but making sure that we do what we need to elevate people for the contribution that they make. And then the final section is progress. This is about a regular review routines and creating new possibilities for our employees. So what I mean by that, so yeah, this is where we get the data. So Edward talked about yesterday, being really confident with data to make improvements, listening to people. That's data. Somebody I spoke to yesterday, who was I speaking to yesterday, she said, we actually do go into our company, into departments, and we have meetings with the staff, and we listen to what they want to improve. That's the best data you're ever going to get. But it means nothing if you don't take any action. So really being, open to listening to people, making improvements and being transparent, but then taking action on that data is key. So what I really ask of you today is to take something away for yourself. So please write these few questions down for me, because I really want you to get connected. This is about you as a HR professional, not just a HR professional, but you as a human being. Like, I really want to contribute to you guys. So what are you committed to? For yourself, for your organization, and for your employees. What are you committed to and why? And then what are you willing to give up to deliver on that commitment? You might have to give up holding on to being a little bit shy. You might have to give up on not taking no for an answer sometimes. I was having a conversation with another very beautiful HR professional the other day. Actually. We were saying that we have a vision, right? We really want to make a difference to employees, but sometimes they don't want to know. They don't want to contribute. They don't want to be contributed to. What, are you going to give up? Right? Some of the greatest leaders had so many challenges and barriers that came their way, but did they give up? No, because they were committed to something bigger than them. And then what are you willing to take on for yourself? What are you willing to develop in yourself, in your skills? When you did the Wheel of Life, there were some areas in your life that weren't a 10. What are you willing to take on? Because, we talked about earlier, well-being. Is there such a thing as work-life balance? Actually, there's just life. I stole that from Mr. Ahmed earlier. Because wherever you go, you take yourself with you. So these are the possibilities that I really want to create for HR. Get connected with your commitment, what you stand for. Come from a place of love and learning, continuous learning. When we're at school, our teachers have provided us with opportunities to learn. When we go to college and university, our tutors and professors guide us on what we should learn. Who does that for us when we're in the workplace? Your leaders are there to guide you. Become visionaries and leaders in the organization. Be at the heart of the organization, not in a closed office somewhere in the building. Be at the center of the organization. Take the shackles off. Not just of the managers, the organization, but take them off your own legs. Free yourself up. To be okay with being different. To be okay to go out there and dance. To be okay to come out here and offer to volunteer. Take the shackles off. And inspire possibilities for others. Today, looking at your Wheel of Life, you're going to create some possibilities for yourself. What you want to work on. Inspire those possibilities in your managers and in your teams. Right. As human beings, we operate from the things that we want to have in our life. So, in organizations, we want to have higher revenue, we want to minimize costs, we want more profits, we want a promotion, we want bonuses, we want a pay rise, we want to have those things, right? Most leaders, that's what we want to have, right? We want to look good. When we're operating from a place of having those things, this is what we end up doing in the organization. We put pressure and we demand of our employees. We don't invest in people or development. Often we don't have time to listen because we want to have those things. So how do we end up being? We get angry, we get frustrated, all of that, right? But because we're operating from a place of have, we're doing these things, and how are we ever going to have those things from doing that or being that? Are we ever going to have the things that we want from doing those things? Yes or no? No. The reason why we want to have all of that is because one day we get to be happy, satisfied, peaceful, calm, loving, and fulfilled. Right? So a challenge to you is if we operate not from a place of having, but from a place of being happy, satisfied, peaceful, calm, loving, and fulfilled now, what would we be doing because of who we're being? We listen, we support, we coach, we train, we develop. Put the human into HR. And then how soon do you think you could have what you want from that place of being? A lot sooner than from operating from a place of have, right? So excellence is not a place to get to. It's a place to come from. By deciding who you're going to be. Did you get that? So I'm going to take questions in the break because of time, but I'd be really interested to share what you got out from your Read of Life and what you're committed to. But this is something that I read on LinkedIn the other day. John C. Maxwell posted on LinkedIn. It said, "Needless to say, you can love people without leading them, but you cannot lead people without loving them." I want to take this to the next stage. Actually, you can't love people without loving yourself first. Right? So really invest in yourself and in your leadership as HR professionals. Thank you for having me here today and for your time. And I look forward to speaking to some of you in the break.